This video is to help you complete the assessment portion of your standards-based lesson plan. And gathering evidence of students reaching your benchmark in your classroom is probably the most critical aspect of lesson planning, because if you don't have any evidence of learning, then how can you judge the effectiveness of your lesson? So basically it's pretty simple of what this assignment will ask you to do. Step one, just learn about the types of assessments that you might find at your school. And we'd look at that by looking at the book and examining what are formal assessments or high-stakes testing, learning what a rubric is, learning what a portfolio assessment is, and also something called informal assessments such as observations or student self-assessments, and examining alternative assessments as maybe an EL student would do or a special needs student. Once you are familiar with the types of assessments, you'll want to choose and create one assessment that you're going to use to measure the benchmark. When you're choosing an assessment, you need to completely identify the action verb that you selected in the benchmark. This is the most crucial thing you'll do, because the action verb will dictate what assessment is the best one to capture that action. So if your action verb is to write, then you would want an assessment that would involve writing. Here are some assessments that involve writing: short answer, essay, paper, journal writing, and so on. If yours involves speaking, then make sure that you have an assessment that involves speaking. And the same thing with the last type of assessment is doing. If you ask a student to use or create or produce, then your assessment should involve some type of using, creating, and producing. We want to avoid using assessments that don't capture the whole benchmark. So if we had something that's very simple like identify, then you could use these kinds of assessments because they're very yes or no. If we use the word analyze instead, then you would need much more complex assessments to capture the word analyze, because it's complicated. So if you don't want to have to redo quite a bit of stuff, make sure your assessment matches the action verb. Okay. It is too often, and this happens also at your Leeward Community College, too many instructors have very complex benchmarks, yet they use multiple choice to try to capture those types of actions. Then you can review some of the lesson resources to give a better idea of the advantages of one assessment over the other. And then finally, after you choose an assessment, you want to create a sample of that assessment, not too big because it's going to just be, if you did the whole thing it'd be too large, and then fill in section part 1D in your DOE standards-based lesson. View here for a student example, keep it in a safe place, and then move on to the next section, which is instruction.